Thank you very much to the panelists for a wonderful conversation. Really intriguing things there. And as your relatively average consumer and novice to this world, some elements of that I really perked up on in terms of those savings accounts and things like that. So fascinating to kind of hear and learn about that. Lunch is on the horizon. However, before we get there, we do have a lightning session where we're going to discuss severe weather mitigation and resiliency advisory council updates. Before we begin, I just want to remind you, if you are here and looking to obtain your DRC credit, you need to scan the QR code both before and after in order to claim that credit and fill out that form. So just a reminder of that. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage Robert Hotaling, the co-chair of the Severe Weather Mitigation and Resiliency Advisory Council, the Deputy Advisor for Infrastructure and Federal Funds at CTBILT Department of Revenue Services, and Sonja Larkin-Thorne, the co-chair of the Severe Weather Mitigation and Resiliency Advisory Council and a consumer advocate. A round of applause for them. Please help me welcome them to the stage.
Are we on?
Yeah.
I guess we are. Since we are a lightning rod, we're going to run through some slides very quickly about what we did with our Connecticut Resiliency Council. We were a group of really phenomenal and diverse individuals. We had consumers, we had the Red Cross. I guess I need to tell the slide to move. Okay. It was a group of individuals put together by the Department of Insurance under Commissioner Mai's direction. We had some of the most phenomenal people who had one common goal, and that was consumers. What do we need to do in Connecticut to improve the environment, also work on resilient homes, look at the issue of flood in Connecticut, and how do we solve the problem before we have another event in Connecticut? How do we stabilize our markets, our rates, and our availability? Rob and I co-chaired the group. However, we had Brian Garcia, who you met earlier, Eric Nelson, who you met earlier. We had Richard Brannigan from the American Red Cross, and people said the Red Cross, remember, every time you have a catastrophe or a major weather event, it involves the lives of people. That's a heartbeat that you always need to keep at the forefront of your thoughts. We had Jim O'Donnell from CIRCA, the professor of marine sciences in Connecticut. We had Joanne Wozniak-Brown from the office of CTOPM. We had the reinsurers with Matt Wolf. We had George from the department, my biggest nemesis, but who always reminded us of what our goal was. I love that guy. But we had a group of people, and we had a group of advisors that were beyond reproach. When you think about it, we had the Department of Insurance staff in its entirety there to work with us. Phenomenal people. We had extra folks from the Green Bank that Brian made available to us. In fact, he made his entire staff available to us. We had people from the University of Connecticut, and for those of you who don't know, the University of Connecticut has the greatest group of environmental scientists you ever want to meet. They taught us about trees. They know where tree exposure exists in the state of Connecticut. We talked with Habitat for Humanity, and I know Chris McKeevy couldn't be with us today, but the work that they're already doing on fortified roofs and houses. We also had in our group Jim Parrish from the Builders Association. They told us about what was available in terms of skill sets in Connecticut. We had Safe Homes, we had the NAIC, we had IBHS, we had Flash. We managed to touch literally every group, organization, or person who could provide us information on how we could make Connecticut a safer place and how better to deal with catastrophes. But more importantly, how to address consumer concerns and consumer protection. We came up with a series of recommendations, and I'm just going to rush through the first three. We recommended that we partner with existing mitigation and resiliency programs. The Connecticut Department of Housing Habitat for Humanity. And in fact, Habitat for Humanity has already built a series of fortified homes in East Hartford, and a number of us will be reviewing those homes tomorrow. The Red Cross, and people said the Red Cross deals with the aftermath of a catastrophe, of a weather event. Like I said earlier, the Yukon engineers in their environmental space, these guys and gals are phenomenal in terms of the information they could bring to us about where the risks were and are in Connecticut. One of our core recommendations, which you heard the other panel talk about, the previous panel, was launch an education and communications campaign. This is core to making a change in the mindset of consumers regarding the need to engage in protecting their single largest investment in this country, and that is their homes. What consumers don't know about catastrophes is scary. What they don't know about their insurance is even scarier. What they don't know about the need to purchase a flood policy and where to even find one is even scarier. So as we looked at that, we look at what the Department of Insurance has just released in terms of their website and what risk your home is exposed to today. They're going to expand that information as they grow on this issue. We know that agents are a core group of individuals we all need to be working with and making sure that they can educate their policyholders or their potential policyholders. Insurance companies, you play a tremendous role in this area, and we have to work closely with you for you to help us get that information about risk out there. The cities and towns, and we're going to see that tomorrow in East Hartford with Habitat for Humanity and the mayor of East Hartford talking about the project that they jointly developed in their city. Consumer organizations are another critical component of educating consumers. We even list in our report churches, schools, anyone that touches the heartbeat of an individual out there who has to protect their single largest investment, their home, we need to be touching base with to make sure they have that core material needed to educate their friends and their families on the risk of catastrophes and the need to fortify their homes, the need to address their flood risks. Our third recommendation was to pilot an IBHS fortified mitigation program. And George Bratner is working on that now with a group of individuals. He brought IBHS into our work group, our advisory council, and they did an enormous job of educating us. They've already created this wheel. We just have to jump on that bicycle and ride with it and bring more of that information into Connecticut. But again, the example is to work with the Habitat for Humanity group of Central Connecticut. I can't emphasize enough. They have already built fortified, already certified roofs. They're doing it. We just need to join their team. Again, work with the information that is already out there. I was amazed at what I learned about what UConn, the University of Connecticut, is already doing in this area when it comes to resiliency and education and what our exposures are. The information is there. We don't need to recreate recreate anything. We just need to join together to work with them, to educate our towns and our town engineers and our mayors, and more importantly, the biggest group, our legislature, on what we need from them as part of our team to invest in Connecticut. Rob?
Yep, sure, thank you. And I've done a number of these events, so I know when you're in between the crowd in the food, you got to keep it quick, right, Commissioner? So I'll be very, very efficient here. Recommendation 4. So this is really about the expansion of the IBHS Fortified program and expansion of Comms and Ed. As you heard earlier from Eric, who was a great member of our team, explaining, well, that's, I think, where we could all help. It's not just waiting for the state or the federal government, but what can we all do to help? And what we're proposing, the council's proposing, is $105 million over 10 years. That would be, once those are secured with the necessary legislative approval and full funding, then we can embark on this comprehensive statewide plan. And a lot of it was based and modeled off of the successful Alabama program, as you guys heard, where we heard from the prior panelist, Bhavna, Great number she gave. For every $1, 13 in catastrophe savings and 33 in economic impact, right? So that's pretty important. So although we're saying 900 to 1,000 homes, we're being conservative. George and I went back and forth a little bit about that, I think. But the point is that it creates a culture of resiliency, which is what Alabama did in strengthening the homes, and we saw that in other states as well. The other point, too, that we want to make on this as we go forward is it's a declining incentive model, which we saw that, and I had a prior honor of being part of the Green Banks board, incredible organization, love Brian and the whole team, Lee and everybody. That was catalytic investment. So it starts with the state, and then as other folks continue to, the private comes in and other people start to get that benefit. As you saw, again, Alabama, their program is only 17% of the homes covered. That means everything was market-based, right? It's a market-based solution. So, okay, next recommendation, recommendation 5. We want to incentivize home mitigation through tax credits. I have the great honor of both being a deputy commissioner at Department of Economic and Community Development, but now I'm a deputy advisor for infrastructure and Fed funds at DRS. So I went from the good guys who give out the money to the bad guys who collect the money, but it's okay. You can still talk to me if you'd like. But the point is that the tax credits, there are incentives that we believe would be really impactful, especially with the FEMA and the uncertainty. Again, with federal funds, there's a lot of uncertainty. I think there's a lot of folks who just assumed, especially with flood, FEMA will come in and save me. I think people are now getting that signal. We heard a lot about signaling. I think there's a different signal now from the federal government. We need to start thinking about what we can do and be augmented by the federal government, not have the federal government lead. And we believe that tax credits are one way to incentivize property values, stimulate the economy, encourage insurance credits, and reduce the state disaster relief burdens. All right, let's move to the last one. As you heard earlier, again, Bhavna explained this pretty well, what a catastrophe savings account is. In Connecticut, we did propose one. What we're proposing from the council is expansion or broadening of that eligibility. We really believe that the council, that every homeowner should have access to this for various reasons, right? And you'll see here, it's really those pre-tax dollars that could be applied to those catastrophe events. So this would incentivize proactive mitigation investments. It would reduce reliance again on state and federal aid post-disaster, and it would really empower those residents to do more. The last part, jumping to the conclusion here, since I think I don't know how much time we have left, maybe a couple minutes, is that, okay. It shows green, that means I have more time, right?
Keep talking.
Right? Okay, perfect. I may not be as good as Connor, but I'll do my best. So we want to further the study. One thing we did realize, and very appreciative to Commissioner Mays, Jared, the whole team, for calling upon Sonja and I. We've become like BFFs, right? You know. But we realized we didn't get enough time and we want to do more. And this is just a start. The main thing that we wanted to focus on, and we talked about this, we talked about the commissioner and the deputy commissioner, is we want a plan of actionable steps. You heard this from the commissioner when we opened. You heard it from the governor. We want to make sure it's not just a report with nice information. What can we actually do to take action now? And so you saw the recommendations. I think they affect every single person in this room, not just here in Connecticut, but again, that wider economic market. Because materials come from outside of the state, right? That affects businesses and supply chain, builders, right? That's economic incentive, and most importantly, our residents and small businesses. Our report focused on residents and consumers and homeowners for now. But small businesses are key drivers to the economic activity of our state, like any community across this great nation. So we want to be able to address that at a future date with the proper time and focus. So those are the things where we want to further to study those. So in conclusion, we want to make sure that we apply the proper risk expertise to this, and I think everyone in this room has some level of expertise. We want to make sure that, again, we have an actionable plan with set of steps that we all can contribute to. And then instead of the question fundamentally of what can they do? What can I or we do in order to make a dent in the resiliency proactiveness there? So again, as you heard earlier, and I'll conclude on this, that Naugatuck Valley event last year was, I think, was a real eye-opener for a lot of people in the state. And we realized, whoa, anything can happen. It's a 1 in 1,000-year event. Regardless if you believe in climate change or not, you can't deny severe weather events. Severe weather can happen in any community almost at any time. And so, and I want to clarify one last thing too. People ask, why is the name so darn long, right? I've heard this. God, like, you know, severe weather, mitigation, resiliency advisory, but there's a reason. Mitigation typically is what can we do before the event, and resiliency often is what can we do after. We wanted to make sure we had a holistic approach to what we're talking about under the guidance of our great commissioner, and we believe that our recommendations really do that, and it goes a long way to that. So, and again, we want to thank everybody, both our CID staff. Thank you, Sonja, as my co-chair. Thank you to all the members, and definitely thanks to everyone who contributed and the public who gave their opinions in order to put together this recommendation. Last comment, I got this from Anna and others on the CID team. They said that it may not be on the desk. We wanted to put QR codes to that report, but I understand you're going to get a post-email after this event, post-event email. Yes, Jared? He's nodding his head in approval. We understand that they're going to put, I'm putting them on the spot right now, they're going to put a link to that report in that email so that all you guys can read it and really understand what we're trying to propose. So anyway, thank you to everybody.
Or you can currently go to the department website where our advisory council is listed and find the report there. But as Rob has emphasized, and I want to emphasize, this is a partnership. We all benefit when we all work together to address this concern. It is an ongoing concern. It's not going to go away. It's going to be with us forever. So whatever you can do to partner with the Department of Insurance to read our report, to support any legislative activity that will occur during the next legislative session, to look at these issues seriously, because you, as an industry, are as invested in this project and in this issue as we are as consumers. So join us and be a part of the solution that we can drive in solving or addressing this issue. We'll never solve the problem of climate. It's going to be with us, but we can solve the problem of consumers being unprepared for the event. So thank you, Commissioner and the staff, and all of the support that you gave us on this. We look forward to continuing this, and I hope to see every one of you at the legislature when it reconvenes, not the special session, but the normal session, to support the department and their activities and their need for enabling legislation to keep moving this agenda forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that lightning session, Robert and Sonja. We appreciate it. At this time, right before I break you for lunch,